So let me quickly demonstrate what I mean by closing the gap and also lifting the door up so that it's even. So in my case, the door is actually perfect, but I'll show you just by example when I'm misaligning it. So I will be adjusting the bottom hinge here. So let me just close the door and show you that my doors are actually perfect. So you can see the gap is actually perfect. And what I'll do is I will turn that particular screw in, which pushes the door out. And because it's the bottom hinge, it also pushes the door up and it closes the gap. So let me go ahead and do that. So you can see I have this particular screw here, and I am going to twist it in. And you can see when I'm twisting it in, so I'm going to exaggerate it. So you can see here, when I'm twisting it in, it basically pushes this door out. So my door's not even going to be able to close now. And you could see that. You could see it's not able to close because now I've pushed this bottom out. But as I go up, you could see what it's also done. It's also pushed this door up. So that's the key here. And I could do two things. I could even it out by pushing this hinge, this upper hinge out, or I could adjust the bottom. So you could see now what it looks like. And this is exactly as expected, in that when I turn that screw basically in, pushing the door out, you know, this closed the gap to the point where it overlapped the other door, and also pushed the door up. So now I'm going to have to adjust it. I'm going to open it back up here. And so that was to give you an exaggerated view so that you actually understand what this particular knob does. And notice, all I'm doing is a little adjustment here. So now I've twisted it out, and you'll notice the door went back in. And now I could see, you know, if it's still, so the gap is a little bit better now. So you'll notice before, when I did that to the bottom hinge and I screwed the adjustment screw all the way in, it pushed that door up about 1/4 of an inch. So that's the wiggle room you have to work with. You don't necessarily have to align these doors initially so perfectly, especially with these hinges. What you have to play with is like a good 1/4 inch. Then you would have to adjust these screws and this mounting by pushing it up or down. But other than that, this particular screw really does all the tricks when you actually adjust it on all 4 of these hinges in tandem. So that is how you align these doors. So here's another example. So if I zoom in here, you'll notice on the left side the gap is actually bigger. So if I zoom in here, that's a pretty big gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to even it out on both sides, whereas on this side it's actually a more narrow gap. So if I go into the hinge now, because I'm trying to reduce the gap, I have to turn both of these screws like an equal amount, such that the top and the bottom pushes this door equally out to close the gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw this in to the right to push it out. So you'll notice I did a 1.5 rotation, 2 rotations, and I'm going to do the same here in the bottom. 2 rotations, 1, 2, and now I'm going to try it, test it out, see what it looks like. And it looks better, but still not good enough, so I am going to do it some more. So even though this particular one is in 1 rotation, 2 rotations, 1 rotation, 2 rotations, And you can see now it's reduced and it looks a lot better. So there you go. That's actually how you reduce the gaps.